Good evening, race fans, and welcome to this week's episode of the Cool Down Lap presented by Midwest Motorsports. I'm Anthony Castor, driver of the 8 car in the Cup Series and the Road Series. I'm joined here tonight by none other than James, the voice of Midwest Motorsports. James, how you doing, man?
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm excellent. Good Monday evening to everybody. Thanks for stepping in.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit different. We don't have JT on tonight. He wanted to take a vacation day. Uh, got that approval process in with HR, so it's all good there. But oh man, so you had a week down in down watching Petit Le Mans, correct?
Oh man, yes, my favorite time of year. My favorite. Uh, it's definitely my favorite IMSA race of the year because it's right up the road. I live about 45 minutes away from Road Atlanta, so I went up every day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it's absolutely incredible event. Every day got more and more crowded. There were really just a lot of fun. Um, IMSA does a great job with their open paddock and general admission ticket will pretty much get you anywhere. Um, Lots of marshals, parking attendants pointing you in the right direction. A great vendor village and fan zone. And Road Atlanta's a pretty big place. If you've driven the track, there's different places to go. Lots of different, awesome, incredible viewing angles to really admire the speed and the power of these cars. You can see them up close and at speed, closer or far away. They're just absolutely incredible. And everybody was so cool. The fans were helping each other out, sharing beers and open coolers and high fiving everybody. And it got a little chilly in the evening, but it was a perfect weekend. So could not ask for more.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite viewing spot? You'd say that you guys were like, man, this is probably the best place to watch the action.
I spent a lot of time in the final chicane, turn 10 A and B,
Mm-hmm.
uh, at the end of the long back stretch, because there's a jumbotron there, as well as like a terrace seating
Mm-hmm.
area where they got center blocks and gravel kind of terraced out. There's probably 50 rows of seats, and then set canopies up on the top if you want, um, and a jumbotron right across, so you can have your IMSA radio on your phone or on your earbud and on your headphones, your headphones. So
Yeah.
you don't miss too much. But um, that's probably whether it's my favorite or not. It's impossible to pick a favorite. I was at every corner throughout the week.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off me asking you that, I noticed there was one, maybe two areas when we were at Indy that I really felt like I could see the best view of the cars like up close and get some good pictures. So for anybody that's interested in going to the Petit Le Mans next year, is this something you do annually then?
Oh yeah, I think
Awesome.
I've been to all of them except two since 1998. So um, I've been to every single one. Like I say, it's too close. I grew up at Road Atlanta. I usually have season passes where you get all the SCCA events, all the vintage racing, historic sports car races, um, NASA events, some time trial events. It's not too bad. It's like $400, and you get tickets to every event.
Man, that's actually really great value for $400.
Yeah, yeah, and a parking pass. So they let you in, saves you $25 per event. Um, yeah, great. Road Atlanta's really fan friendly, and I think it always has been. Don Panos bought it and changed it like in the early '90s, and before they had turn 10 A and B chicane. There was a dip, and it was straight from turn 7. Pretty much, I mean, it was rolling hills. It wasn't perfectly straight, but it's pretty much flat out. They called it the dip or gravity cavity, where it still went down into the thing into where turn 10A is, but then way back up the hill up to the bridge without the chicane. So if you can imagine, like I say, just the speed coming into turn 11, which is now where the bridge is, um, got too dangerous with the walls. being so close, too many people died. So Don Panos put in the turn 10A and B chicane and invited Le Mans, bought an entry to Le Mans, offered an entry to Le Mans 24 hours in France to the winner of the Petit Le Mans. And that's how the Petit Le Mans originated.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Thanks for the background in it. We're learning things tonight, that's for sure.
That's awesome. I love it.
So we'll go ahead and we'll get into the This Week in Motorsports segment. And before we do that, did you see our guest we had on here not so long ago ended up winning out at Mid Ohio?
I did see that.
Yeah,
I think it won twice.
yeah. Congrats to you, Mike Odell. Man, going out there and kicking some butt out in the Ohio.
The
So
videos that he shared were pretty awesome. I'm sure it was his dad taking the videos and his in-car camera, GoPro, but or whatever timing system he's got. It was pretty incredible. Mid Ohio is definitely on my bucket list. Uh, World famous track.
yeah, so if you guys haven't seen, I'm sure Mike has some videos there in the Discord. I'm sure it's under either Real Racing or Video Streams. Hop in there,
Real
check them
racing.
out. Real Racing. Hop in there, check them out, and make sure you give that guy a shout out. It's a pretty big feat to go out into the real life and actually win some things. So, congrats to you, Mike. Good job. Keep up the great work, man. Keep representing. So, I will go ahead and lead off the. Oh man, where to start the This Week in Motorsports segment. So, to say that there was no news would be a major understatement over the last, what, 6 days, 7 days.
4 days, 3 days. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot. So I'm just going to kind of skim through here and just kind of lay down some thoughts here on just the news. So have you seen? This one actually came out today. Did you see that Haley Deegan switching over to the IndyCar? It's coming up series. I
Next.
think it's like the NXT.
Yeah. Indy next. I think they're calling it. Yeah. Incredible. Good for her, I guess. I did see on her socials where she was doing some testing at different tracks in her car with the Halo. So uh, good for her. It was actually the Halo. So I'm not sure if the Indy next, do they use the canopy like the Indy cars or the Halo like the F1? But either
Uh,
way, open wheel
I,
high downforce, that's a change.
yeah, that's a pretty big change. I mean, I thought she started off kind of like dirt tracking and such,
Yep.
and didn't really have too much luck in trucks. Arca, she was great. Xfinity, she had what, like 6, 7 races, 8 races, and then she's just jumping over to Indy. Uh, Good for her. Hopefully, it works out. I mean, I always like to see people come into the sport and succeed, especially people that go in, do the work, and don't come off as conceited. It's good to see them try and succeed in something. So that was some news. I mean, uh, Alex Bowman getting the DQ, and we find out what, like 2 hours ago, that Hendrick is not going to appeal uh, the disqualification ruling for the car being underweight.
Yeah, that's terrible. I did not hear that they're not going to appeal. That means they probably found something or they were pushing the lines so closely. I think they give you that 5%, which was 17 pounds from what I heard. So they may have been, 16 pounds light to start, even on a full fuel load. So um, it's unfortunate. I mean, can you imagine telling your sponsor, ally, that's been with you for X number of years and putting up how many millions of dollars that you made a mistake on calculating the weight at the end of the race and now we're no longer in the chase? That's got to be a tough phone call.
Yeah, I did see that one of the ally representatives did put out a tweet saying they were absolutely gutted for Alex Bowman and the team, that they worked so hard to, you know, get themselves these points, put themselves in the playoffs and advance, and then find out that uh, you aren't in it because of your car being underweight. Which I think Hendrick kind of looked at, and they're like, 17 pounds is a lot of weight to try and figure out what you would have lost. I mean, I know there was a video of him going through there, hitting that curbing, and having parts and pieces come flying out from underneath the car, but nothing in that looked like it was 15, 14, 13, 10 pounds. So um, I think Hendrick just kind of looked at like, yeah, we aren't going to win this one. And I mean, you can go back to Sam Mayer getting DQ'd out of the Xfinity race a little over a week ago for the same thing. And I think Junior pointed out that the underside of the car was pushed up in, and it caused some kind of imbalance or something, and it was actually like race damage that caused it. So I think Hendrick just kind of looked at it and was like, yeah, we ain't gonna win this one. We'll just roll with it, I guess. I mean, it's the playoffs. You'd think if they had some sort of evidence or something, they'd go for it and
Right.
appeal it, but they must have
Exactly.
thought better. Um, Aside from that, man, I really don't got much more. I didn't see anything else on the lawsuit case, and aside from that, news-wise, I really didn't catch too much else. I figure I'd leave the racing part to you if you wanted to go over that.
Oh shoot. I mean,
Yeah,
we don't have to do the whole review. We can go step by step. I mean, if you want, we can start with the Xfinity race. I thought
yeah,
it
go
was
ahead,
good
bud.
racing. Those cars still race pretty good. I mean, I can't give a full race review. I watched the whole thing. Not sure if I remember all the
Just hit your.
specifics or details, but of course, the finish is the biggest one to me, man. I would be so happy for Parker. He does a lot with the broadcast. I've always looked up to him and listened to him and pay attention when they change to him down in the pit lane. So, um, seeing him do both roles, I think the Scott Borcheller team does some Trans Am racing too. So, despite energy drink brand, I was really hoping that Parker Kligerman was going to do it as a driver. I was really pulling for him, as I think a lot of people were. So it's really disappointing when he can look at the white flag, he's waving it. He, goes to focus on the apex going under what he thinks is the white flag. And then even looking up at the Jumbotron and seeing his crew chief celebrating, you think you got it. But apparently it wasn't official and they had to start all over again. I got to be honest, I did feel kind of bad for the announcers. Was it Rick Allen that does the Xfinity race? Whoever it was, man, he was giving him credit and giving him high fives and, just getting the excitement up, getting the fans ramped up for a victory for Parker Kligerman and then having to bite his words and start all over again. What did you think of the finish?
Oh man, gutted. I don't know if you saw the video of him coming to the line and just when that yellow got thrown. Like it looks like he is inches from the line, and as I was telling you, man, they should just held it. I mean, that guy was sitting in the wall for 20 seconds, and when you throw the yellow out, just not even a second. I mean, split seconds from the start finish line, it doesn't look good. Like it looks like you're trying to take that win away from Parker and try to manufacture a win for somebody else.
Or manufacture the excitement, the drama.
Yeah, manufacture exactly another overtime finish.
Right.
I don't agree with the I don't agree with the finish and how it ended. I mean, good for Sam Mayer and Junior Motorsports getting another car into the playoffs, but it shouldn't have went to that. It should have been called at the line with Parker winning. And I can't believe NASCAR didn't have the foresight afterward to be like, wow, we just screwed this guy out of potential victory. Like I get other racers, you're going down the back stretch, you got like half a stretch to go, and they throw the yellow. But this guy's sitting in the wall for 20 seconds, and Parker's right at the line. Just let it go.
Right. I I, I get it. You're right. I think they should have called it earlier. I mean, because that dude was all the way under the tire barriers. It is. his whole car was under the tire wall. So
Yeah, and I didn't get to watch it on TV. Did the broadcast actually show that car sitting under the tires?
not until after, not until they were kept focus on the leader, the leaders
Wow.
coming to the line.
Okay, because I was gonna say like NASCAR should have the ability to see that TV monitor and see that there's a car under those tires. But I mean, if the broadcast team didn't show it, I mean they're focused on a lot of other things. But still, that guy's like somebody has to be in a corner or something and seen that and be like, hey, we got a car on the wall.
We got 50 people in that NASCAR war room up at Charlotte, the home of NASCAR. So there's 100,000 cameras. There's probably what, two or maybe three, four TVs, four cameras per person watching. So they knew it was there. I don't think they missed it. I think they were just kind of deciding and going back and forth on call it or don't call it, or do we call it? Nope. Hold on. Wait a minute. He's coming to the line. He's past the last mini sector. Do we throw it? Put it out. Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, I could see the other side of it with, if they throw it after Parker crosses the start finish line,
Right.
people saying, well, I mean, you've already got your foot in the grave. I mean, he's been there 20
Yeah.
seconds. But I mean, you did kind of screw Parker. So, um, regardless, I feel like the layout of the track put on some good racing over the weekend. It's just a shame that the officiating had to kind of put a drag on the results of the race.
Yeah, for sure. And don't forget the Cup Series race was pretty incredible as well. What did you think of the Cup race, or did you get to watch some
Are
of it,
you
all of it, part of it?
are you talking about the Kyle Larson 250 that occurred over the weekend?
Another dominating performance by Kyle. I thought it was interesting that Kyle Larson is known for not going to the simulator often, and he said he specifically went to the simulator to work on the Roval. So that effort paid off. There was racing going on, still more than just for the lead.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out who was dogging Suarez on their radio. I seen um I can't remember the guy's name. He's on the teardown with Jeff Gluck, but he posted in his X. He didn't say who said it, but somebody had some really unkind words for Daniel Suarez and how he was driving. And I've been digging on that most of the day, trying to figure out who it was. A lot of people say it's Blaney, which the wording in it kind of leads me to believe that it was Blaney because it was pretty aggravated. Whoever's on the radio was pretty aggravated. So normally that's Blaney. He's the hothead behind the wheel. But overall, I felt like the racing in the Cup Series was pretty good. There was some passing. There was again glad they put that was that turn 7. They turned that into that tighter, basically U-shaped turn.
Yeah, I think it definitely helped the racing.
Yeah, I think it helped the racing. I feel like it was a good balance of manufactured entertainment and also giving the drivers a choice there. Like you can try and take these spots, but there's a pretty good chance you're going to cause a pileup. Which let's take a
It
second to
did.
acknowledge, yeah, that it did create a pileup, and man, these cars, they don't have to be going sideways at 190 miles an hour to be leaving the racing surface. Tyler Reddick, it looked like the whole rear end of that car went 4 feet off the ground.
Heck yeah. It's kind of like what happens when the open wheel cars make contact. The back of the rear wheel is going up, and the front car, and then the approaching car, the front of the front tires going down. So when those two hit, you got one pulling up and one going down. Somebody's going up in the air. So it happened to be Tyler Reddick, and he pretty much bunny hopped that big old heavy car.
Oh yeah, I believe he bent the tie rod end or the toe link in the rear of the car, and he had the steering knocked out too. And again, just the storyline of entertainment and drama. It's a cutoff race, and for all accounts, 3/4 of that race, you think Tyler Reddick's going to get cut, and somehow his team's able to fight and get that car back to a manageable driving condition and drive back up and get the spots he needs to knock who we thought was Joey Logano out of the playoffs. So, I mean, that's again a championship drive by that team. That's what, 2 in the playoffs. He had the almost flu game, and now he's had the get wrecked and drive back through the field. So they're showing championship contender status there.
You and Kester hit the nail on the head, man. It was a team effort. I mean, okay, the driver, put the car in a position, but the team as a whole got it together and stayed cool and calm and worked every pit stop on getting it a little bit better and a little better, and repairing the right repairs and knowing the order of repairs and when to get back out so you don't go down a lap, to get that car back up. And Tyler Reddick drove it back from 26th, I think, is as far down as he went back up to, I believe he finished 11th, to stay in. So good on, like you said, the whole team. It's a team effort every single week.
Mm-hmm. So aside from that, we already covered the Bowman news. Joey Logano getting back in. Kyle Larson basically running the show. Was there anything else that stood out in that race to you?
Well, again, I mean, the turn 7 thing, I think it helped the entertainment value, because it was almost like, when there's construction on the highway and you see the lane ends and they tell you to merge, but it's always one or two guys that try to get 3 or 4 lanes up, and you end up 6 wide at the last second, and everybody cutting everybody off. And I think that's what happened, not only to Reddick but to Shane Van Gisbergen as well. So I was a little disappointed that the 77 went in 5 wide and thought he could make it work, and caused the 77 to, or it caused Van Gisbergen to spin. I was really hoping he would do it from the pole. But
Multiple times that 77 car just sent it into turn 7.
Yep,
That's,
all or nothing, I guess.
I'm telling you, man, he's going to be the equivalent of Ross when Ross was on the Don't Give a Damn tour. Just
Yeah, pretty much.
he's going to put that car where he wants to, and if it wrecks somebody, it wrecks them.
Yeah, even though Kyle Larson ran off with it, man, I think it was a great race, and I think the Roval belongs on the schedule.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm glad to see that they went in there and made some changes to the track to make it a little more exciting. So it's good to see that. I don't think it's as easy to do with your dedicated road courses. I mean, since the layout's already there with the Roval, you can at least configure it however you want to configure it. But again, it was some good racing, good watching, and we'll see how the playoffs go next week. They're off in Vegas, so see how that goes. Aside from that, I don't think trucks are back until Martinsville, so it's just Xfinity. And are trucks back at Martinsville? I'll have to
Good
look into it.
question.
I'll look into it at some point, but it's crazy how they schedule that. Like the trucks only run like half. It seems like half the season that Cup runs. Xfinity runs about 3/4, pretty close to 7/8 a season. So definitely crazy how they end up doing that.
Their next race is the 26th at Homestead, Miami.
Okay, so we got another week then. Well, that's good. I always like to see some truck action on Friday night. It makes the weekend a little bit better because you get racing on all 3 nights.
Yep.
I do want to revisit something real quick before we get into breaking down the road series last week at Brands Hatch. There was a cool down lap poll we put out. I want to say it was a couple weeks ago. Seeing which drivers we all as a group seen get into the round of 8. So it looks like We put everybody. 16 people put Kyle Larson in. 13 with Tyler Reddick. 13 with William Byron. 12 with Chris Bell. 12 with Ryan Blaney. 11 with Chase Elliott. So that's 6 so far, right?
Yep.
So here's where it got interesting. Joey Logano got 9 votes. So Joey Logano would have technically been out. So 9 people would have lost that one.
But he's not. So
Exactly. So he's in. Denny Hamlin and Alex Bowman were tied for 8 votes apiece. So, I mean, our group was pretty good. They pretty much called this. It was down to Denny and Alex. Denny's in, so I mean, we can call that one a split. So Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, and Daniel Suarez were the definite short ends of the stick. There's no tie there or anything, and they did get eliminated. So good job, guys, calling that out. I mean, 7 out of 8, the 8th being a tie. Not too bad, guys. Not too bad. And I mean, it's a throw up there because if Alex wouldn't have got DQ'd, I mean, I could see it. We only missed one then, but with Joey Logano. But good job, guys. I'll put out another poll. We'll predict the top 4 and see how close we can get on that one. But that's always fun to do. So we'll put that poll out after the show here and get your guys' thoughts.
I'm not surprised at all. Our league is pretty knowledgeable and up on the current state of affairs. So it doesn't surprise me that we got it right.
Yeah. Well, it looks like in the chat we gotta get Michael some Midwest Motorsports stickers for the Ford. So
yeah, we do.
Talk to Eric, see if we can shoot some out to him. But,
good on you. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good call there, Juicebox. All right. We'll go ahead and get into the road series. They were out at Brands Hatch last week. Gutted I could not make that race. I actually enjoy it. But how'd everything turn out, man?
Incredible. As always, I mean, a huge turnout, 34 drivers started the race. Well, I think 33 ended up starting. A couple guys went out on lap 1. But that was unfortunate for Ian Bakaitis and Rick Bundren. I did not see it on the replay exactly what happened, but Brands Hatch is a staple on the schedule. I think a lot of people like the track, as you mentioned. On the pro ranks, Chase Fincher and Johan DeRoy, Michael Odell, Shea McNeely, Brian Coxon, Jason Phillips, top 6. The local fast hot shoes, I guess we could call them. We're rolling and got off to a great start. Justin Taylor hung in there for a little while. I know he's pretty familiar with the track, and it showed. But yeah, Chase Fincher and Johan DeRoy. Chase was leading Johan for quite a while, and I think Johan was just playing it coy, letting Chase set the pace. Michael Odell and Shea McNeely had an incredible run, and Brian Coxon, so it's a 3-way battle for third. Continued on until just before the pit stop, so like just past the 30-minute mark. Chase Fincher got crossed up with a lap car and spun coming up on the left-hander before the long back stretch, and that's how Michael Odell ended up taking the lead. At that time, it was Michael Odell. I believe they had not pitted yet. It was right at the pit cycles. So Johan DeRoy, I believe, pitted afterwards. No. Okay, I'm not exactly sure when the pit cycle was, but Chase Fincher was leading up to the pit stop, and as the pit stop cycles happened, we were watching another battle in the AM division. Adam, myself, and shout out to Chris Hopper. Chris joined me in the broadcast booth, and if you haven't listened to it, did you get to listen to it
I
at all, or parts of it?
I'll throw it on tonight while I'm driving.
Yes, you really should. It's absolutely incredible. There's a hint if you want to go to the Twitch clips section. I featured a clip, 2 or 3 clips. You might have to go like to the last 7 days or last 10 days, but to get the clips to show up. But the most recent flips. You can filter by last, which however it goes, you'll get a hint. But we actually had a third. We had a pit lane reporter, special guest as well. So me and a
Man,
hopper in the booth and a pit lane reporter. It was great. You're not going to want to miss it. But unfortunately for Chase Fincher, I really felt bad for Chase. Um, the lap car kind of let him go, and then coming into the corner, with either Chase came across his nose right at the end of the pass, or the lead car, the lap car didn't quite let him clear before they were going into the corner. So a little miscommunication there, and Chase spun. Michael Odell ended up taking the lead at the time. He eventually had to pit, which gave the lead back to Johan DeRoy. And Johan DeRoy claims the victory. Michael Odell with second. Jay McNeely got third, and Chase Fincher ended up fourth. So, but
oh,
yeah, it was terrible.
hold on a second here.
Go
Am
ahead.
I seeing this correctly on that interval between first and second place?
Yes, 0.3 seconds. Michael Odell was on his tail with 34 cars around Brands Hatch. Lap traffic was incredible. He could hold you up 2 seconds at a time. So Michael Odell, by the time Johan DeRoy pitted and came back out, he was just ahead of Michael Odell, probably 3 seconds. And then Johan DeRoy was just managing the gap. But Michael Odell was faster through traffic and caught back up and almost made a pass on the very last lap at the white flag. If you're listening to the replay, maybe you'll be at a stop by the time you come to the final lap of the white flag. But Michael Odell got around him going into turn one. Johan DeRoy passed him back into turn three. So Michael Odell couldn't repass him again before the end of the lap. Incredible. Less than half a second between first and second.
Man, that's some tight racing. I know Johan's really
Again,
fast, and it's good to see Michael kind of hold his feet to the fire in the close racing. So
and
shout out
Chase.
to you guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Dang.
I don't know if Johan DeRoy could have got around Chase without using the chrome horn, which Johan is not going to do. So, I mean, they were all just super fast. And, Shea McNeely and Chase ended up having a great race for third and fourth. Um, Justin was good, and Glickner was right behind him. I mean, there's like 2 seconds in between the top 10 all the way down, right? And let's not forget the AM drivers as well. Dan Gish has been with Midwest Motorsports since the F3 days, the early season F3, and comes out with the win, his first Midwest Motorsports victory. So congrats to Dan Gish. Ron Cabiltas, your points leader, was second. Kevin Bridges in his first podium finished third. Nick Calguru fourth, and Andrew Miller rounded out the top five. Another really close battle that we followed the whole race was on the AM side was Norm Snyder and Chris Thaler. Now I know that Chris is the grandfather of Midwest Motorsports. We had him on the uh, podcast to interview at the Cool Down Lap.
Mhm.
So it's good to talk to Chris, but he and Norm were going back and forth and back and forth. I know they had practiced all week, multiple race sessions, and Chris and Norm bragging rights race. Norm Snyder got around Chris as Chris was dealing with some lap traffic, letting the leaders go. He ended up going slow off of one corner, and Norm let him go, a couple corners behind that. So Norm had a head of speed. Chris Taylor was super slow, letting the guy go around him, and Norm followed the leaders right past Chris for the lead. It was great.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to hear.
Heads up racing by Norm to keep going and go for it.
Yeah, that's this sounds like it was a fun race. I'm glad everybody got to enjoy it and that we were treated to a close finish. So it's good to see. Man, I tell you, the competitiveness in this road series is unreal. Just how close all these drivers are. Uh,
Amazing. Michael Odell has about a 500-point lead over Chase Fincher right now, but don't forget we have two drops. So it's just past the halfway point. We're off this week, and then we'll go to Road America next Tuesday.
Yeah, Road America. That's going to be a fun track. Wide open, throttle time, nice braking going in some of those corners. So it ought to be a good race. I know the last time they were out there, it produced a really close finish. I
Yes,
believe
it did.
Jason Phillips was involved in that finish.
And Johan, or no, it was Max Bauer, and it was like 0.000
Mm-hmm.
at the end of on the screen. So we had to wait till the results were everybody crossed the line for iRacing to help us decide who won.
So hopefully we get treated to another good race from them guys, and we'll see how it turns out. We'll be out there covering it, not tomorrow, but the following. So that's
Right.
the 22nd, October 22nd, Road America, and we will be there live on the Twitch, Ribbonvale Twitch, 7:25 race start.
7:25 race start for sure.
All right, so we'll catch you all there, and again, hopefully the guys put on a great race. I know I'm going to have some fun trotting around in the back. So,
Oh, please, you'll be just fine. And it's one thing about the series is there's such a broad spectrum of performance level in our road series. It doesn't surprise me that it's clean because everybody's here for the same reason, and you'll definitely you won't be alone very long. That's for sure.
yeah, I mean that was the one thing I meant by there's always everybody's competitive. There's always a race, and JT says it all the time. There's always somebody that you can race against in that series. You're going to find somebody that's around your level, and you're going to have a fun race with them. So, uh, everybody enjoy your off week tomorrow in the road series. Get your practice in if you want to, and we'll be back at it next week with Road America. So, um, aside from that, with the league, we had the Oval Series starting back up. They were out in Daytona for the duels the other day. Unfortunately, I don't have the point slides for those just yet, so I'm just going to let the ticker kind of scroll on that as we talk through it. Trucks. I did get to watch, I want to say, maybe the first 15, 20 laps of that on the stream. I got to watch up until they went in and did their first set of green flag pit stops, which, might I add, was very exciting to see.
I agree.
Especially the way I worded it was when you had the slower cars come out and kind of Daniel Suarez the
Yeah.
the leaders and get in front of them. Bold, brave move, but I'm glad the drivers didn't bunch up and wreck because of it. It just had to put the brakes on and kind of bump each other. But
So sketchy. I mean, what's the etiquette? What's the rule? If I remember correctly, I mean, it was definitely past the blue cone, so it was appropriate for him to merge. Uh, but it seemed like he stayed low on the double yellow lines, and the way I understood it, if there's a whole pack, if you're by yourself and a pack of any more than two is coming by with more speed, the etiquette is to go up against the wall and give them the yellow lines. Have I got that wrong?
well, that's just it. It's driver etiquette. I mean, we don't have a set rule in
Of
place
course.
for super speedway racing saying, hey, if you're the one driver, you place yourself out of the way of the pack. If you're on the backstretch, I mean, normally what I do is on the backstretch, I'd put my car underneath the yellow line and let the pack go by,
Right.
dip on the apron. I think what happened there is I think the bottom line, and this is just watching the broadcast, so I didn't know what was going on in front of it,
Yeah.
but it looks like
It's
the
hard.
bottom line was closing at a rate, and I think it was McLaughlin maybe. The 99 was leading that pack and made a late move to go around the lap car, and it kind of just put Jason Phillips in the deer in the headlights situation where it's like, oh crap, there's somebody there, and I think he had to get on the brakes, which kind of bunched up Eric and the rest of the people behind him. Which again, kudos
Yeah.
to those guys for not just cramming the rear ends of those trucks and causing a big one there. From my understanding, that happened much later in the race, but um, that's heads up driving for the people that are involved in that. Not the guy in the front, because I mean he sees what's coming, so he can make that move. But if you haven't driven these oval cars or trucks on a super speedway, you're when you're drafting, you just see the back bumper of that car. You don't see what's going on in
Right.
front of you. So heads up move by those guys to not wreck and slow down enough to safely resume racing. So that's how I seen it, though. It just looked like it was a late move by the guy leading the pack, and it kind of just caught everybody else off guard.
Yeah, it's super speedway racing, of course.
Hmm.
Uh, it seemed like the trucks were a handful going around Daytona. I mean, relatively light field with um, 24 trucks. I guess I can't call that relatively light. Maybe that's more on the cup side, but it seemed like trucks had a more difficult time holding a steady wheel or keeping the car, keeping the truck lined up behind the truck in front. A lot of
So
zigging and zagging.
yeah, when we were in a practice, I don't know if it was a practice session or the first handful of laps of the cup race. I noticed Eric said something about the cup cars not having the handling complaints like the trucks do. So I kind of wonder if that's what he was talking about. I wasn't sure where he was going with that, because I was like, I mean, trucks have less horsepower. I mean, they should handle better in a way, but they did do that truck aerodynamic refresh on it. So who knows? Maybe they keep tweaking things with it. But um, yeah, it
Yeah,
was good to see the trucks out there turning laps. And just to touch on what you said with the smaller field, I think a lot of people just they look at the dual race as it's a qualifying race. So I'm going to start from the back and work my way to the front anyways. It's Daytona, so we should see those numbers getting up for the inaugural race.
yeah, that's right. And as they were coming to the five to go, or maybe four to go, um, we got crossed up a little bit, had a caution. So ended up having a green white checker, and it came up short as well as they were coming to the white, I believe. It was coming to the white. There were some, let's say, argy bargy contact, and Jason Phillips ended up staying out of the mess. And Jason Phillips from the Road Series, last season's Road Series champion, is going to start from the pole in this year's season opener at the Daytona Truck Race. So good on you, Jason Phillips, coming over from the roadside. Going to start on the pole and bring the field to the green this Friday night.
Oh yeah, congrats coming over, man, and running up front and taking that W in the qualifying race. Hopefully that transitions over to Daytona. Being out front's always a great place to be, so hopefully you can lead that pack for a good while and represent the road series well.
In the post race interview, he mentioned that he runs a lot of super speedway, Talladega, Daytona races, the next gen car, or maybe it's the Xfinity car with a group of friends when he's not racing with the Midwest Motorsports League. So says that it's just a fluke that he's good on super speedways, but we had the big one coming to the last that final caution, and I think three trucks made it through. A couple of cars went across the line backwards just to get across the line and get their starting spot for the Daytona next week. But Jason Phillips, Justin Thaler, and Sean Cunningham made it through without getting involved in that wreck. So good
That's
thing
awesome.
there was no DVP, and we would have ran out of records just like they did at the last Cup Series race. But it
Oh,
involved every single truck except the top three.
that's awesome. Yeah, I seen the
Madness.
somebody posted a screenshot, and that was
Yeah.
absolute carnage heading to the line. So Um, yeah, no, I'm excited to see this truck series get rolling. I'm excited to see the Cup series get rolling. What'd you see with Cup, man? I know it was a lower field than what we normally have, like lower car count numbers. So uh, we kind of got strung out there a little bit. But what'd you see up there in the booth?
I liked it. I did not get a chance to talk to the crew or my insider, uh, my group of insiders that helped me out with the fuel runs. So I was a little confused at about the pit cycles, but no, I thought the racing was great. Um, a lot of give and take, especially at first. Um, but it seems like the Cup cars really seemed like it was a little easier to push and get pushed in the Cup cars than the truck.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The Cup car felt pretty balanced. So if you're getting shoved in the back, like I know Eric was giving me some really aggressive pushes there towards the end to try and catch a group, and like he would hit kind of left, a little right, sometimes center on the bumper, and like you get a little wiggle, like you know somebody's hitting you, but it wasn't anything to wreck you. So it was interesting. I'd say the Cup cars are definitely really balanced, and that goes for all the tracks. I haven't felt a track where that thing seems like it's hard to control. So should make for some interesting racing this season. Uh, yeah, I don't know what happened. I think after the pit stops, it was the last set of green flag pit stops.
Right.
We ended up stretching out all the drivers. I think the 99, the 3, and there might have been somebody else.
77.
Was it 77?
He was in
Yeah,
there if you're talking about the very end.
yeah, yeah.
I was really
Kevin Mayer.
impressed with Kevin for sure. I thought it was incredible that, well, not incredible, just it just so happened that the second caution came out with like 25 to go. And I don't, they couldn't get 25 laps on a tank because everybody had to come in and get a splash for the end. So I think that's what separated everybody out. I believe the 15 got uh, involved in both yellows, used his fast repair on the first one, and then had to wait in the second one. And so he ended up 2 laps down. But you worked with um, the Thaylors quite a bit. I think you and the 15 and the 2 were pushing each other. Jason Huffman was up there too. I thought Jason was going to pull it off for the win because he was right there. But that last splash is what kind of separated everybody at the end. Um, the 3 and the 99 were dancing partners, was the phrase that I used. So
Yep.
I knew that they weren't going to help the 2 or the 15 or the 4 or you. So when the opportunity came, the 99 went around the 2, 3, pushed him, and went around the 2, and then the 2 had to work with the 77, and I don't think they were on the same page. They definitely weren't on the same comms. So I don't think they ever had a chance.
Yeah, it always helps when you're in the race chatter. You can talk to the people you're driving with, whether that's with a private Discord chat through a DM voice call or whatever. It's always good to make friends. Always good to have people you can draft with and know, like, hey, I'm gonna bump you now, or hey, let's go ahead and do this. There was one interesting thing, and Trevor, if you're listening or when you listen to this, you can DM me and let me know if you were doing this. But I feel like the 99 was dragging his brakes quite a bit to get a push because I noticed when he was in front of me, like he was almost always on my front bumper, and I'm like, well, why, how? Because every other vehicle or every other car you push, like there's a little bubble there, like a little air bubble that you have to like take your nose out and come back in, and you break that bubble, and then you can start bumping the person. Or if you get somebody behind you, it'll somehow break that air bubble and you can push that person. But with the 99, it just felt like coming out of the corner, going into the corner, like in the corner, like he was right there on my bumper, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
But
in the corner. I didn't think that was you're supposed to push in the corners.
yeah, no, we try not to. Definitely try not to.
Yeah,
I know Eric and Justin can push each other basically around the whole track, um, corners and everything included. They just work that much with it, work with each other that much that they're comfortable getting them pushes. Um, Me per se, I'd rather not get touched until we're on the backstretch or the backstretch. Like even going through that dog leg on the front at times can seem a little sketchy. Ah, awesome. So
I got one more scenario that I recognized, and I want to ask you what the rule is. Again, I'm an iRacing. I need the book iRacing for Dummies. It's still on back order, but all right. So when you're coming in for the pit stop, once you cross the pit line, at least in the pit boxes, the cars are ghosted, so you can drive through cars on the pit box. Is that right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's strange how iRacing does that, but there's a certain area where they will ghost it.
Well, I saw more than one cars, and I'm not going to call anybody out. You can see it on the replay. But where do the incident points start? Because more than one car would come in the pit lane and go across the timing line, the pit in line, and go right to where the cars are, and drive through every single pit box. Not stay in the second lane, not stay in the first lane, stay all the way on the pit boxes. It drove through every single pit box. Um, till he got to his and then slammed on the brakes.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't get to see anybody cut through all the boxes. I know we have a rule in place where we want you to go until you're 3 boxes out from your box and then pull down. I mean that's basically how they do it in real racing too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's interesting. Was there a series you seen it in more than than the other series?
Oh, it was the Cup Series Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't happen to see it, but
Yeah,
there's
it
a
was
lot
just
you're
me in the
looking at
booth.
on pit road.
Yeah. I'm just recognizing something that I want to, be able to see when I'm calling the race.
Yeah,
That's why I thought I'd bring it up.
yeah, no, the rules set up for you to be in the far right lane. I know we have instances in super speedway racing where you're pitting in and it's kind of too wide. You have the uh, far right lane, and then somebody's on the inside. And normally, you just kind of gotta quickly remember, like, hey, is this guy pitting ahead of me? Is he pitting behind me? Because you don't want to turn down into them because that's when you will get some incident points on pit road. But yeah, no, everybody should be pulling to the far right, and they should be going and pulling in 3 boxes prior to their pit box.
Got it. Thanks.
Yep. Um, good job to the Cup guys. It was the only race I got to participate in. I don't know how trucks did, but good job to the Cup guys on getting on the pit road from 170 miles an hour down to
Yeah.
60.
Nobody got it wrong. It was great. Good on you
I
for that.
I think I only seen one car spin coming onto pit road, and I don't know if it was because somebody's nose came across him or if he just locked up the rears. But overall, that's a pretty good stat to only have one car um, come around on pit road. So I know we did have one person get a speeding penalty, which I think was upgraded to a unsafe pit entry by iRacing. And just to touch on what you seen with Eric. So Eric, he was involved in that first accident. The second accident, he had to get towed. And
Oh,
believe it
yeah.
or not, yeah, when you're getting towed from the front stretch, which is only 100 yards from pit road, if that, it takes 5 minutes to get towed. So
Oh,
Yeah, so he still has fast repair in his pocket. He is one of the stingiest people with a fast repair. He will hold on to that thing until, honestly,
the big one.
yeah, I mean, unless he gets a meatball, and he'll have to speak to it himself. Unless he gets a meatball, he ain't using it.
Yeah.
So, more often than not, he's running the race with a damaged car if he gets into an accident. But, um, yeah, he had that fast repair, and the 5 minutes of towing kind of did him in. So he was hoping for a couple more yellows coming to the line, which, again, great job, Cup guys. I was expecting it to get out of hand uh, on the last couple laps, and it didn't. So good
Yeah,
job to everybody and keeping it clean.
that final flash, flash and dash. I think they were like under 5 seconds for the pit stop. Uh, Kind of put some separation in between everybody, but Eric still did a good job pulling the four. I thought they were going to be the lead pack, but um, the 99 and the 3 got hooked up, and then the 2 and the 77 joined them. And I thought that the 99 and the 2 were going to work together, Justin and Trevor. Um, but then once Mike Samia, Trevor may have dragged the brakes to get back to Michael Samia. Samia gave him a bump, and they both drafted around Justin Thaler in the 2. Um, Justin hung on down low on the WL Alliance. Did a good job not to block, because I think that would have caused a big one, or at least taken them each other out of the race. But I knew once the 99 backed up to the 3 that they weren't going to work with Justin, and they drafted around Justin. Kevin Mayer in the 77 tried to push him back up, but Mike Samia ended up winning with Trevor McLaughlin second. Um, and interestingly enough, I mentioned it in the broadcast. The 3 and the 99 were last and next to last in the trucks, first and second in the Cup. So Mike Samia is going to start on the pole of the Cup race season opener on Sunday.
Ah, well, again, it's nice to see people working together at these drafting tracks, especially people that uh, you wouldn't know had an alliance. If they have an alliance, we don't know if they have an alliance. They might just be great working together. But it's good to see if they have an alliance. Great. It makes for better racing because when those two get hooked up, that they're going to be pushing towards the front. So it's always good for the broadcasters to kind of look at that stuff and see like, oh hey, 99 and 3, they're getting together. We'll watch. They're going to go towards the front. Um, and I mean, you can always say the same thing when the 15 and 2 get together. I mean, that's a combo for speed at super speedway. So, um, truck race this Friday, 9:25 green. No, 9:55 green flag start time. Uh, Qualifying starts at 9:15. So practice, or sorry, 9:45. So practice will be going 9:30. So guys, tune in on Friday to the Twitch Rivenvale stream. You can check it out. Racing ought to be good. It's going to be the full race, so it's going to be longer than the duels. And Jason Phillips will be taking you guys off the line then. The Cup Series is the Sunday, 7:25 green flag start time. So it'll be a front row lined with Mike Scamia in the 3, taking off in the pole, and the 99 in second place. So be interesting to see how the race turns out. I know a couple of the faster guys that would normally see up in the front or in the back. So we'll see how long it takes for them guys to get to the front, and we'll see how the racing turns out. I will not be there Sunday.
Oh, and
I know I got birthday parties left and right, and the wife's birthday. So
yep, gotta stay
yep,
on the good side.
exactly. Or else I'm gonna come home and the office is going to be burned down. So
Well, happy
uh,
birthday, your wife.
yeah, I'll let her know. And we will see everybody back here. I'll let you guys know if we aren't going to be here Monday. I'll let you guys know well in advance. I'll put it in the announcements tabs, but we always plan on being here every Monday. So that's all I got for the night. How about you, man?
That's it, man. Thanks to everybody for tuning in and looking forward to getting the oval season underway this Friday night for the trucks and Sunday for the cup cars.
Exactly. And it's going to be a fun one, guys. So tune in, watch it, cheer on your favorite drivers, or go back and watch the replay and see how you did. And we'll catch you all again next week. So in the meantime, take it easy.
And don't forget to stay in your lane.